I started doing my walks, my working out, power walking, whatever you want to call it, because just in the last month that I've been doing it, I actually feel tremendously better. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Okay, right now I get up. Look at that. I just jumped up. No problem. No pain. Everything's good. My legs feel healthy. I can easily move around. No problem.
Think that it's a good use of their time to sit on a server hating on me 24/7? I just want you to think about that it's literally a server just meant for hating on me 24/7. Shut the fuck up, economist. You fucking dunce. Yeah, because you're rich too, economist, so you don't care. We are winning. We are living large. The detractors have been felted yet again. Dude can't take a shit because he's constipated.
Lord forgive me if this one is quick. I just found out that I'm likely to go to Europe for an extended period of time in theater, according to my boss, in roughly 60 days. And I have a shit ton of projects that I've been slacking off on in favor of shit posting on Phil. But what can I say? Stress relief is stress relief, and somehow it lets me relax.
Have you ever tried to relax? It is a paradox.
Anyway, Phil went political, Phil went full, I'm a winner, you're a loser, and then Phil somehow kicked Mutahar off the internet. Yes, that's hyperbole, but Mutahar's Twitter was gone this morning. Anywho, enough with the lore dump. Let's kick down the door to Snort Hogan's house, steal his shit, and react to it.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort. Hogan. Drip. Snort, snort. I got the drip. Go.
All right. So we are at $60 so far. We hit 100. We vote on a hat for me to wear. And if we hit 150, well, we'll see about a vest. Today I probably can wear a vest because I'm wearing a normal shirt, not a shirt over a shirt. So it's, it makes sense. Nev, I read it completely wrong. The $10 super chat says, looking for the address login to the secret detractor server. I'm asking for a friend. Well, that'll be our next topic. Okay. That will be our next topic. Will be this secret detractor server discussion. So yesterday on this podcast, I covered the topic that apparently there's a secret detractor server. All right. And people, might say, well, wait a minute, Phil, why are you being so overdramatic? Why are you acting like it's some kind of a clandestine server, calling it that? No. I'm not exaggerating. That's the name of the server. They actually named it the Secret Detractor Discord server. Okay. And so I talked about it. We looked at it together because someone had screen capped it, what they had posted publicly on Twitter and stuff like that. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a line of discussion. I laughed because basically these people think that it's a good use of their time to sit on a server hating on me 24/7. I just want you to think about that it's literally a server just meant for hating on me 24/7.
Careful, Phil. Your Vegeta is showing. The amount of hubris one has to possess to think that any Discord server, quote-unquote, about someone only covers that person and no other subject matter has to be reserved exclusively for lolcows, because, to me, they're the only ones I know of who could have such a low comprehension of what a community server is that it would allow them to think this way. And I reacted to his first bit on this live, at which point, not only was I confused, but That Being Said was as well. Shout out, of course. That Being Said tweeted that they didn't understand what Phil was trying to get at by thinking he had a kinda gotcha moment, because they said whoever ran the server said that they had shut that one down, but then they belonged to another server, and Phil just thought, see, I've got you here. And honestly, I initially had trouble understanding what Phil's warped interpretation of this was, but then someone reached out to That Being Said. They aren't credited, so I don't know who they are, but whoever you are, big ups. And they wrote a much better encapsulation of my thoughts that I'm just going to read it out here, and it'll be on the screen for my visual style viewers. Anyway, quote 1, it's a crime to be on any kind of Discord server making fun of Phil. It is factually a crime. 2, because it's a crime, and because they felt so bad after Phil exposed their dead Discord server, they deleted it from utter mortification. 3, but the guy admits that they are on another server of thousands of people who all have it in common that they hate Phil because he's such a terrible liar and gamer. Get it? He's admitting to his crimes, as opposed to saying, yeah, that channel was dead, so I deleted it since we have this other one we use more. Dave can't compute that because having a Discord server about him is a crime and they admit it. What's at the core of this? The whole thousands things the tractor said. There are thousands of people that hate him and he has a couple of hundred fans, of which at least 100 people are clipping him for content and another slice are LARPers, dent tractors in the original sense, with troll tips and bait comments. Bottom line is that Dave is so mad with NPD, and giving him narcissistic supply only makes him worse, because no one knows more how inadequate Dave is than Dave himself. It's why they are so delusional. Being reminded of the fact that more people hate him than adulate him again confirms what a loser he is in his own mind. Narcissistic injury, narcissistic rage, it's a compulsive cycle for them, not rocket surgery. Sound good? Anyway, Dave does not make drama content. He ignores all of it, okay? Okay, end quote. And yes, I fumbled my way through that quote, but it was like my 5th take and I wasn't doing another, so sorry. But I agree completely. It's likely what is leading him to believe that people are on Discord servers 24 hours a day and they only talk about little Filbert. But dude, you're just the thing in common on Discord servers. You're not the sole focal point. Now, I'll admit Phil has been taking steps in the right direction, however hilarious they might be, in that he's reading out contributions as they come in. He's investing, so to speak, into his business. And again, as hilarious as that is. But it's a right sight better than Phil was, say, a year ago, and you have no idea how much that pains me to say. So, Phil, with all that said, with all that self-improvement you're doing, perhaps you could speed up the understanding that you're not the main character, hopefully so that you can deflate your ego a tad? That'd be great.
But anyway, I said my piece about it yesterday. So why am I talking about it again? Because essentially my coverage of it rattled the detractors so bad that they're like freaking out. A lot of them I've heard, you know, first of all, that server got deleted. But I heard a lot of the others are rumbling, oh my God, who's the snake? Who's the one who talked about it? And who's the one who's exposing all of our detractor stuff to the internet? Because we don't want anyone to know about that.
What the hell is even that?
A big X to gout here, because there should be some receipts for this. I know of absolutely no detractor or hater of Phil who doesn't want their viewpoint heard. Actually, it's the direct inverse. I know of several detractors who wish they had the confidence or voice to make content. And to be clear, if you make content and tell me about it, I'll watch it, even give you feedback if I can. Everyone is welcome to detract on Phil in my eyes. Go make your own channel. Anyway, so where are the logs, messages, tweets, or whatever else that suggest or even imply that any detractors are, quote, freaking out and didn't want their servers to be out in the public? I'll wait. And I know I'm going to be waiting for a while because this is an out-and-out fabrication, and it doesn't make you look good at all, Phil.
Right? They're like, oh, they're so shaken that someone actually talked to them and exposed the shit that they're doing behind the scenes. They can't handle it. And no exaggeration, I've heard people are getting threats now, you know, all kinds of crazy shit. And it's like, again, you can only get away with this kind of toxic shit for a certain amount of time until karma comes back to bite you. Do you understand that? Like, it doesn't make any sense that you would be doing awful content, awful stuff on the internet, right? And you think that you're just going to get away with it endlessly. You're not. Karma will come back. And that's what people are now realizing. Oh, crap. All these things that people have done to Phil over the years is all coming back to bite them. And by the way, just to, again, reiterate this, I'm not doing any of this. I have not lifted a finger. Rich from ReviewTech USA imploded by himself. Okay? Yesterday, when I'm talking on stream here, that's not even, you know, that's not even me. Like, I have nothing to do with it. I'm just covering a story that someone linked me. I'm not even involved in it. I have nothing to do with it. These things are just happening all around themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, it's crazy to think. But it's just, you know, that's just what's happening. You know, it's like, wow, it's nuts. So.
Exposed them? For what? Having a server? Who gives a shit? How is that an exposure? Yes, Phil, people talk about you behind your back. I rip on you constantly with those who know about you. I introduce as many people as I can into the Snortex. There is nothing for you to expose. And you've heard of people being threatened? Who? And why? It seems quite convenient that you can levy accusations towards the detractor community with no evidence, or as you would say, circumstantial evidence, or nuggets of truth, which could be interpreted several ways or taken out of context, but you get to portray them as fact. However, the second someone uses evidence to make a logical conclusion which follows the ideas behind Occam's razor, suddenly they're morons and they need to do more research. Yet another example of rules for thee, but not for free. Also, what is this bullshit about getting away with toxic shit? You mean free speech? The most important tenet in the Constitution? But let's table your totalitarian little man with a small mustache ideals. What is this bit about karma? Things like June's documentary, the Side-Scrollers arc, and the Argentinian memberships are direct examples of karma coming to visit you. I guess the Kino Casino arc has inflated you back to the point where you think you're an infallible god, but as the saying goes, pride cometh before the fall, and Phil, I am waiting with popcorn for that to happen. However, the real reason I paused here was the last 30 seconds or so where Phil said he hadn't lifted a finger, and I want to directly quote this, sentence? Paragraph? I don't know. Go back and listen to it if you want, but here it is. Quote, "Yesterday, when I'm talking on stream here, That's not even, that's not even me. Like I have nothing to do with it. I'm just covering a story that someone linked me. I'm not even involved in it. I have nothing to do with it. These things are just happening all around themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? It's, it's crazy to think, but it's just, that's just what's happening. Yet just, wow, it's nuts. End quote. And I took the time to hand type that whole thing out just to make sure I got it right. What is this statement? What position is he taking? I'm legitimately asking. Did that make sense to anyone?
All I have to say about it is, listen, I'm not going to talk about it every day. I don't want to. I really don't want to talk about this stupid shit every day. It doesn't really affect me. They sit there on the Discords and, be fucking losers. They could be losers. I can't stop them from being life losers and not understanding that they're wasting their lives. Okay, I just can't. But if it does pop up in a line of discussion, if so, I just happen to see it, I might talk about it from time to time, but I'm not going to be bringing it up every day or anything. More people tried to reach out to me and said, here's another server. I'm like, I don't really care. I don't want to talk about this every day on my show. There probably is 20 servers, right? Seriously, with the amount of detractors that I have, there's probably 20, 30 fucking servers for a bunch of losers all doing it. I don't care about all of them. It's not that serious of a situation where I need to know about every single detractor talking on a Discord, nor do I need to expose every one of them, okay?
This seemed very oddly placed because, for one, I don't know of anyone who would care if you talked about them on your pre-cum pisscast, big ups Atlas, but to go further, to not understand how much ire you have drawn from the internet was just the chef's kiss. What am I talking about? The fact that Phil thinks there are 20 to 30 Discord servers. My dude, I wouldn't be surprised to learn there are hundreds. You have so many different detractors from so many different walks of life that if each one of us could make a server, it would be a completely unique experience. Do you know how bad you have to fuck up in life to piss that many people off from that many different backgrounds? Anyway, that's one clip down. We have one on deck again from Snort Hogan, and I'm just going to warn you now, we're going into politics, so I'm sorry in advance.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan.
Drip, snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Okay. So my final news story for today is a political one. Well, maybe not. It's a news story that I want to talk about because I've talked about this from time to time in my content. I'm an American, and sadly, I see a lot of, how can I say, spin in the way that things are reported or told to the populace of the United States. I see a lot of propaganda, and it pisses me off, okay? Notably, one of the things that I have seen reported in our country in the last several years is jobs. Jobs are up. There's so many jobs to be had in the United States. Man, if you need a job, you're in the right place because the job market is booming. And you keep seeing reports in mainstream media. So-and-so reports that 1 million jobs were created and 500,000 jobs were created and these jobs were created and that job was created. Okay? Well, today, folks, something happened. All right? And let's be honest, I think everything that I've said up to now kind of led to this. All right? I kind of felt like something like this was eventually going to be reported. Here we go. This is an article from mainstream. This is not, some right-wing news media or anything like that. This is a actual real news article from this morning. All right? U.S. added 818,000 fewer jobs than previously thought from March 2023 to March 2024, the government says. Prior data far overestimated recent labor market recovery, the government said on Wednesday, a potentially worrisome sign as slowing job growth shakes confidence in the economy. Though some experts suggest the downward revisions aren't as bad as they seem on the surface. Oh, no. We accidentally counted 1 million extra jobs. We only lied about 1 million. I mean, at least it wasn't 1 billion, right? Only 1 million exaggerated jobs. That's not a big deal or anything, right? What?
Oh, dear Christ, we've got Old Man of the Mountain Phil, who's going to grace us with his wisdom. And of all his personas, I think Old Man of the Mountain, or Wise Old Phil, is one of my most hated, because wisdom typically comes from knowledge that's wrapped around life experience, and the guy has neither. If you haven't seen his soundproofing setup, his PC setup, internet troubleshooting, or him setting up that stupid little display, let me spoil it for you, Phil is actually stupid. Not the typical insult of stupid, but the definition that is given by the dictionary of having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense, and now he's going to give us political take. And I saw a bit of this clip on King Jad's Bingo, big ups and go sub to him, Jad's hilarious, but Jad had a great hypothesis. See, Phil doesn't normally do shit like political articles or news about the government because it could have an air of polarization, but in this case, the news is so agreeable to both parties that Jad thought he was doing this piece just to clip it, and I hope he's proven right, but as of now, DSP hasn't clipped this bit. I wouldn't put it past him, though. Anyway, the government got a job creation estimation wrong. I mean, I get that it's news, but Why is it news for Phil? I don't know. I guess drone on, man tits. Drone on.
So here you go. The U.S. added 818,000 fewer jobs than previously estimated from March 2023 to March 2024, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which released the data about 30 minutes after the scheduled 10 a.m. EDT release. That brings the total employment growth, not including farm jobs, for the 12-month period from 2.9 million to about 2.1, knocking average monthly growth during that period about 242,000 to about 174,000. Stocks reacted positively to the announcement, with the S&P 500 rising after the revision's release, extending its daily gain. The update came as part of the regularly scheduled first benchmark revision to the government's monthly non-farm payroll data, the most widely cited measure of all the U.S. employment picture. So basically, every single person who references employment in the U.S. references this data, and the data was completely wrong for a year. A year. Oops. Now, the funny part about all this is, where is the accountability, and who is responsible for this issue? You know what I'm saying?
Phil, I am begging you to listen to me here. Never dabble in or try your hand at persuasive speech or argumentative debate. You just read an article about a statistics goof, and apparently it was a big one. What you haven't yet addressed is how it happened. That would likely lead you to your responsible party, but more egregious than that is the fact that, Phil, there hasn't been a net negative yet. From Phil's own mouth, he said stocks went up since the news, not down. And now he's skipped to holding someone accountable. For what? Improving the economy? I mean, I get deceiving the American people is wrong, but as a former debater, this really irked me, because whatever he's talking about now in terms of job creation, there's no point. Good things happened because of it. What are you getting at, Phil?
So taking a look here, massive revisions have been fairly normal in recent years. As the government said last August, it also overestimated the job growth for the 12-month period by 306,000. And in August 2019, it had underestimated job growth by 462,000. The most recent downward revision comes as late spring and early summer non-farm payroll expansion slowed, okay? Why are we constantly lying to the American populace about shit? Because our government is saying all the time, okay? Oh, here we go. I gotta read this. Chief critics. There's little reason to fret at this headline revision number, according to some economists. Goldman economist Walker wrote, ahead of the Labor Department report, the 818,000 downward revision is likely erroneous and misleading, estimating the new forecast slightly overstated the error, due in part to a methodology mostly excluding unauthorized immigrants, a group which strongly contributes to overall job growth. We're not sweating this report. We're not sweating the fact that our government misreports things by 1 million. Again, this isn't 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. This is nearly, they're off by 1 million. And that's what they told everyone for a year. And that's what we believe. And then they by the time they correct it, it's too late because people have already made decisions based off of this. Businesses have made large decisions based off of this. It's insane.
What? What are you talking about, Phil? Businesses have made large decisions based on this? According to who? Cite your source. This feels like false outrage, a take to have to appear smart or concerned for one's fellow man, perhaps to even unify against a common target, but his whole delivery of this feels as fake as the eyelashes you'd find on a woman at a club on a Friday night. Why are you outraged, Phil? How does this impact you? Or better, how does this impact your viewers? Why should any of us care what you're talking about right now?
We are running a government that's a joke. They can be wrong by 1 million and they're okay. Oh, it's fine. It's no big deal. No, it is a big deal. Okay, it really is a big deal. Now, here's the other part, too. And this is the part that I absolutely have to add some commentary to. Did you notice that in this article, or in any article at all, that you read about the job growth in the United States, okay? Did you notice that they never say the quality or type of job growth? Did you happen to notice that? Nowhere here does it say, oh, they were in these particular sectors. In fact, what they actually did, they excluded the farm sector. They definitely did that. They said it's not farm jobs, right? But outside of that, does it say one little piece of information about the jobs? No. No, nothing at all, right? Why? Why? Do you want to know why? Because the jobs that they report that are job growth in the United States are not the kind of jobs that you can make a living doing. The jobs that they are reporting as job growth in the U.S., all right? Do you think it's a job where it's a factory job where you have a skill that you learn and you can apply it to a product and the product is great and so that company appreciates you and you can get healthcare and you can get investments like retirement investments and you can get promoted and you can actually have like a career doing that? Is that what you really think the jobs are that they're reporting? Do you think that the jobs are office jobs, a cushy office job where you sit in a nice comfy chair all day, doing data entry, answering phones, going to the boardroom meetings, talking with people, again, healthcare, you know, retirement opportunities, things for your family, investments, and then promotions and career? Do you think that's the kind of jobs that they're talking about when they say, oh, our economy grew by so many jobs? No. No. You want to know what jobs they're talking about? Fast food. You want to know what jobs they're talking about? Retail stores. You want to know what jobs they're talking about? The gig industry, where you drive a car and deliver food or pick someone up on an Uber. That's what they're talking about. These are jobs, all right, that you can't even get hired full-time for the most part. So you never qualify for healthcare. You have to pay for healthcare out of pocket, which is insanely expensive in the United States. For those who don't live in the US and you don't know how our healthcare works, unless you have an actual healthcare provider through your job because you work full-time, 40 plus hours a week, you have to pay for healthcare out of pocket. I can tell you, I am healthy, okay? No major pre-existing conditions. I pay over $400 a month for healthcare just to have it. That's not me using it. That's just to have it. Then if I use the healthcare, they charge me again for the visit, for the medicine, for anything. I get another bill and another bill and another bill, okay? If you have a pre-existing condition in the United States and you need healthcare, you're going to be paying $1,000 a month for your health insurance, plus the cost of care. That's how our system works in the United States. You literally must be rich to have healthcare, okay? It used to be, well, your job would do it for you. You get a nice job, and because you work full-time for your job, they've negotiated with these companies to get discounts on healthcare so you can afford it. No jobs like that exist anymore.
I'm convinced he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about now. So what? You want him to break down jobs by what? Salary, skill set, educational requirements, experience, expertise? Like, make an ask, Phil. Presently, you're just bitching and not explaining the data or metrics you want. You're bitching to bitch. You're being a Karen. Moreover, how, of all people, would you know what kind of jobs people can make a living at or not? You've been unemployed for 16 years, a veritable leech on society and the mentally handicapped, but you expect us to believe that you have an idea of what jobs can sustain or support someone. Entry-level jobs are jobs, Phil, and again, until you show some impact or detriment to reporting the jobs the way they do, your argument falls flat. This is literally the old man yells at cloud meme. And did he call data entry a cushy job where you go to boardroom meetings and talk to people? I mean, I knew he was out of touch with reality, but this is just next level, my guy. Data entry is soul-crushing. It's monotonous, boring, but it must be done, so you're always on a deadline. There's nothing cushy about that except the office environment as opposed to manual labor. Phil would know this if he had a job. And Phil is healthy? Based on what metric? He's overweight, I'd argue obese, vitamin D deficient, mentally unstable, and socially stunted. If Phil is healthy, I'm an Olympian. I also caught that no jobs exist where you can get health care, which, yes, they do. A ton of them do. Entry level might not, which is where Phil would have to look due to how he's mismanaged his whole life, but fuck it, let's let him cook some more.
They've done away with them. They outsourced all that work to other countries. And now the only jobs that are left in the United States are less than full-time. So we're talking you're scraping by to maybe get 20, 30 hours a week at the job. No health care, no benefits, no retirement packages, no opportunity for advancement or any kind of career. You're lucky if they make the fucking work schedule more than a day before you're expected to report to work. So you can't even have a life because you don't know when you're supposed to be at work, how many hours you're working this week, how much money you're going to make this week because your schedule is constantly fucking changing. That's the jobs that we are adding to the U.S. economy. Shit jobs that no one can make a living working. So many Americans are now being forced to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and juggling between them in a week because that's the only way they can make enough money to make ends meet. That's the true state of the American dream today in 2024. When our media presents this bullshit misinformation to the public and says, oh, so many jobs are being created, this is great. No one ever says what jobs. Tell me what good jobs have been created because that's the data I want. I don't want a raw number. I want to know what good career jobs that you want to work for your life and can make a real living on. What of those did you create?
He knows that jobs that are created by the government are typically government jobs, right? Like the multi-thousand IRS positions or something like a data analyst for federal law enforcement. Crap like that, right? He knows that, right? Well, anyway, what I want to know, though, is where Phil gets off wanting to know anything about jobs at all. He doesn't work. He's living the American dream per se. I mean, not exactly, because the American dream is to work hard, by working hard, succeeding, by succeeding to attain a better life free from governmental oppression. Actually, let me retract that, because he doesn't work hard, he doesn't succeed, because scraping by to spend money on sweaty man JPEGs doesn't count, he can't get a better life, see Duty's broken toilet counter, and he's under the thumb of the government for back taxes. Nah, point still stands. If there are topics that Phil shouldn't talk about, I think those which require hard work or a work ethic should go right to the top. Dude is the definition of a couch potato, except that he's in a gaming chair now. Anyway, in terms of jobs and their creation, those, oh crap, what does he call them? Megala corporations, those are the source of career jobs. That are STEM fields or trade jobs. Those are the fields he's probably thinking of, but now that I think about it, This whole rant actually fits DSP's brand. He's asking where the jobs are. He's not searching for them. He wants someone to just hand him a list of career jobs, like the lazy sloth he is.
Because that number right there is worthless. And then on top of them already lying and misrepresenting the jobs that are created, then the number is off by nearly 1 million. So not only is it shit jobs being created, then they overcounted it by 1 million shit jobs. That's the state of America. And you know, I'm not a political guy, but when I see shit like that, I'm like, are you kidding me? I will absolutely call hypocrisy out when I see it. Not only are they blatantly lying to the populace, then they can't even fucking count. And then the economist says, oh, this is not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Shut the fuck up, economist. You fucking dunce. Yeah, because you're rich too, economist. So you don't care. You're not a working class person out there struggling with these jobs that are being created, trying to fucking make ends meet, and say, oh, this is not a big deal. It is a big deal. Our government lies to us on a daily fucking basis about everything. They skew every number. They sugarcoat every story. It's fucking propaganda. It's fucking sickening. It's so hard to get real fucking information about anything because people, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a fucking big deal. You incredible dunce. You incredible fucking walnut-brained idiot. Yes, it's a huge deal when they're lying to us. Okay. I got that off my chest, and now we can move on.
Pot, have you met Kettle? Kettle? Pot? DSP ripping into The Economist and saying that they don't know what they're talking about because they're not working class people has to be one of the cringiest and ugliest rants he's ever had. According to ZipRecruiter, the average salary in Renton, Washington is $58,000, and only the top 4% of jobs in that area make over $100,000. So guess what, Phil? You're the rich. You're the upper class. You don't think you are because you can't manage your impulses for shit, but it's true. Also, does anyone know why Phil calls people a dunce all the time? It feels rather telling to me, and what I mean by that is Phil is so out of touch with the way the world works at this point that if he forcibly had to stop streaming, he'd end up like Brooks in The Shawshank Redemption. Not like Brooks, who didn't have a shot in hell because there was little to no reintegration support, but more because Phil is a coward and would crumble under the slightest stressors that you or I might have. But anyway, why is him calling people a dunce telling? Because Phil doesn't know the slightest thing about the way the government, the world, or even society as a whole functions, and he's so slow to learn anything, which is quite literally the definition of the word dunce. Oh, anyway, I really do hate DS politics, but that'll wrap this up. This segment anyway. Now we're going to keep going. We still have to hear about how DSP is winning and we're seething, courtesy of Snort Hogan yet again.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan.
Drip, snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. We smashed it again. I didn't even boot the game. And we have hit the support goals for the stream. That is the big 10. 10 straight streams that we smashed the support goals. We are winning. We are living large. The detractors have been felted yet again. Doody can't take a shit because he's constipated.
I'm a scat man.
Tevin is crying. Memeology is seething. Everyone is pissed. And it's delicious. So thank you all. The king's coffers are filled. Yet again, the tax has been paid. Let's get Atlas Telemon up there. It was $44 and how many cents? 64 cents. The top tip of the day. Atlas Telemon says, I'm sorry that I haven't been in touch for a while. I actually never left. I'm proud to have been here ever since your early Connecticut Street Fighter days. Thank you so much, Atlas.
I know. Deep down, this arc hurts. Not because Phil is getting money, but because people are basically burning their money by giving it to Phil. But, you know, free will is a bitch, and as stupid as I might think it is, I don't have the right, nor would I want the right, to tell people how to spend their money. However, I do want them to be informed on how they spend it, and that's what most detractors feel, I think. Phil making money is one thing, and like I said, this arc hurts, but it's going to lead to something far more glorious. Eventually, the energy will drop, the bottomless funds, they'll dry up, and after making tier 3 after tier 3 after tier 3 goal, he's gonna go on a massive begment and victim session. When this happens, which it inevitably will, the light of deception will shine so brightly on Phil, I don't know if he'll be able to make a comeback. And I know, I've said that before, and like a weed or a cockroach, DSP comes back. But I truly feel like June's documentary and other research is going to put Phil into a position he can't get out of. However, that being said, shout out again, seething? What does that even mean? It means that, what, we don't like it when Phil gets money? Because if that's the basic definition, I guess consider me a top-tier seether. But if he means like it directly impacts my life in a negative way, then my dude, you need to take yourself down several pegs on the priority list. You're far too high up there if you think that you're impacting any detractor whatsoever, with the exception perhaps that I always got a giggle when you wouldn't hit your tier goals and you would cry like the little bitch you are.
You know, to me, the early Connecticut Street Fighter days were me playing Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix early on in my YouTube career, and actually going to tournaments and winning tournaments and that and stuff. When Street Fighter 4 came out, yeah, I played it a lot, but it was mostly more casual to understand it, to make videos about it. I wasn't really trying to be competitively good. Like, a lot of my friends were at the time, and I was like I remember my friend Ryan Lee, who actually was into a lot of my videos back then. He was still ultra serious about Street Fighter, and he asked me if I would be. And I was like, you know, I just don't see the point, because I'm doing good on YouTube, my popularity, and, you know, I don't see putting that amount of time and effort, you know, into keeping doing this stuff. I'd rather just do my thing on YouTube and have a lot of fun with my audience. So that's where my efforts lied. And then he, you know, a lot of people went on to keep doing competitive stuff when I just was left behind, basically. Anyway, thank you. Guys, by the way, we're literally not done. I can't believe it. I just received a $14 tip. Someone says, oh me, oh my, I've done it again. Oops. Oh, were you trying to join the Secret Detractor Discord again and you accidentally misclicked and sent me another $14 tip? What a shocking shame. What a horrible turn of events that would happen. Wow. Thank you so much. That gets us to 164 and still climbing. And I didn't even boot the game yet. Choke on it, detractors. Oh, and by the way, when you're sitting there on your secret Discords today and you're planning your evil plots against me and you're clipping my content, be sure to clip the leaderboard that I smashed again before I even played a game. Be sure it's fully in the frame. Be men about it. Don't try to crop it out. Put it in there and show that I am successful and you are not. All right, very nice.
I want to go two ways with this, but I can only choose one. The first way is to absolutely dunk on Phil, explain me and my girlfriend's level of success after the years of struggle, debt, dumb decisions, bad luck, and all other things which would stack the odds against us. To tell the story of how we came to be where we are today, how much we've grown, how much we've learned, and how successful we actually are. The second way is to recognize this for what it is, and it's bait. Phil likely doesn't even know he's doing it because he actually believes that all his detractors are somehow mentally deficient or otherwise life losers, as he calls us. So anything I were to say, show, or otherwise counter with wouldn't be addressed. Hell, in all honesty, as much as my ego wants to believe otherwise, Phil probably doesn't even know who I am, so why bother with the flex? So all that said, I'm choosing option 2. Phil, you do you, son. Get those tier 3 goals. Get the memberships, super chats, tips, and all other forms of support. At the end of the day, even if Philbert has 7 figures in the bank, I'm happy with my life story, how far I've come, and who I am today. And no matter how much Phil gets, he can't take that from me. And if you've overcome odds, or perhaps you're struggling but you're a decent person, hold on to that decency. There's no way for him to take that away from you, and trust me, he wishes he could. Phil also can't take away the achievement of watching this whole video. Well done. With big ups to Snort Hogan for the clips once again, thank you, and welcome back, dude. Good to see your stuff again. Thanks to all my members, especially the gym rats. All of you are great, and I appreciate all of your support. Until next time, swole's the goal for a troll. Lift heavy, eat clean. Hey, if you stayed to see if there's a joke here, there's not really one, but can someone please explain to me why Phil is infatuated with Duty's bowel movements? It's starting to get disturbing.